Hi, I'm Sandy Schreck for LBR Educates, and we want to introduce to you a new vase collection that we've brought in. This is a vase from Canpol. It's a vase with some brilliant colors. We have a variety of shapes and sizes in this and multiple colors. So it's a heavier weight glass, and the color is actually in the glass, so it's not painted on. So if you need to push them in the dishwasher, you're going to be able to be confident that the color is going to stay on. So it's a great base for your customer. It is an opaque finish. So here actually I did a composition that is done in foam. And with using foam in here, I'm able to get a little bit more spread on my flowers. You can see here we're featuring two of the pincushion protea. So we have a tropical promotion that's going on as well, and it really embraces that neotropical trend, putting in statement flowers that become conversation pieces. People want to come up and they want to touch them, and what is that? And putting something different in your pieces that are really long lasting is a great way to start those conversation pieces. We're also featuring the Xpression rose in here as well. And then we've got a new cairn that's in that burgundy tones in the Nobio variety. And then just adding in some dianthus. So years ago, you were taught that when you're making a tropical arrangement, it had to have all tropical flowers. Well, now we're seeing those lines blur, most definitely. So we've got some of the temperate flowers, roses, basics such as carnations and dianthus, mixed in with those tropical flowers that really create a statement. This vase is really versatile in the fact that you can also just use it with water in. So I'm just coming in, I'm creating a collaring effect and a mechanic with the aspidistra leaves. I just twisted them and brought them back on themselves to create that mechanic. And then I'm going to come in and start to create a stem grid pattern. So I'm coming in, crossing stems, starting with my outer perimeter of the flowers, and on here creating X's within that vase to be able to have that stem grid. And so we just come in and starting with our outer ring, and I'm just gonna keep coming around here and adding in some of those carnations in that deep burgundy tone. And there you can see a great start to that. Then next we're going to come in with some line flowers that are going to extend this a little bit more. And so we're coming across, going in through that grid that I've created with the aspidistra. So I'm coming across and through, and so that I can get a little bit more depth and dimension in with this piece here to extend it out. And that's what we're seeing in popularity. So where things are spreading out more horizontally and vertically and not so compact. And then adding in some statement pieces here. So I'm just going to come in with one of those yellow pincushion protea that comes in. Those pincushions also come in like an orange variety and a red variety. So you can see that you can have them be an accent piece where they're a statement, like a contrasting color to the design, or that they would go into your color harmony. And then we're just going to come in with a couple of the Xpression roses coming together, and then bring in some of the Lenbush grown gerbs here as well. So we're coming in here and going to bring one of those. And so now we're just adding some layers in here, and we're having the pieces be a little bit more up and down as we're coming in, and thinking about different textural elements. So the hypericum adds kind of a waxy finish. I call it the jewelry of the floral industry, and so that just adds that contrasting texture. And then I'm going to come in with a couple of the purple dianthus. It's a long-lasting flower, that kind of composite flower, a little bit like a filler flower, but has a unique presence and adds that visual contrasting textures within the composition. So you can see how this is just kind of coming together. You see that statement coming in with that pin cushion, and then we're going to come just with some other florals that add that depth and dimension. So a couple of the Veronica, and then a couple of the scoops over on the other side. And I just had those 3 pieces of that aspidistra in there that help to form that base texture or base mechanic. And then lastly, I'm just going to come in and add a little bit of freshness coming in. And so with the fern here, and that just kind of increases our garden aspect and gives a little bit more depth and dimension. And so when I'm using those novelty greens, I don't start with them. I make sure that they're coming in more toward the end so that I really see the value of them, and they all work together to bring that composition together. And then I'm just lastly going to come in with a couple of these carnations down in deep to add that final depth within it, and kind of to bring this composition down and give it a little bit of an anchor down in, so that it really adds to that depth and dimension that we get on the design. So you can see a couple different versions that you can create in these designs. You can see a couple different versions that you can create in this vase, and you can see with foam, I was able to use less flowers because I can control the placement on them. But here, this makes a beautiful composition as well. So I hope you'll try these vases, bring them in for your customers, and create some fabulous florals.